Project Cars isn't for everybody. It's a serious simulation for people who like their motorsport pure. There's no pop-punk soundtrack, or takedowns, or rewinds. Developer Slightly Mad Studios set out to capture the experience of manhandling a real racing car around some of the world's most famous racing circuits, and has succeeded. It is, however, for anybody, and this is an important distinction. Project Cars is probably the most user-friendly racing sim I've ever played. There's a lot to admire here, from the authentic handling to its lavishly detailed cars and tracks and its potent sound, but I'm seriously impressed at just how malleable this game is. Anyone can delve into Project Cars and be able to find a series of options that will massage it into an experience that suits them, because the list of things to tweak when it comes to gameplay, the on-screen display, and controller settings is frankly exhaustive. What I like most, however, is the way Project Cars allows us to fine-tune the overall AI difficulty and race length before every single session, giving you the freedom to find a sweet spot that matches your ability. Project Cars is at its best with evenly matched opponents where every overtake is a small victory, but if you prefer to feel like a hero and blast past the whole pack in 2 laps from last place on the grid, you can adjust for that too. Low-level opponent AI is quite nervous off the start line, but in general, all opponents display good situational awareness and are satisfyingly aggressive without being total bullies. There are a few AI quirks that need addressing, but I've found myself tagged by passing cars only occasionally, and for the most part they seem good at avoiding race incidents. Project Cars' player-first philosophy extends to its career mode too, which is divided across open-wheel racing, touring and GT racing, and prototype racing. You can start your career wherever you'd like. Want to start in karts and work your way up through the various open-wheel racing leagues before you finally land a seat in the top LMP1 league? Not a problem. Rather just go straight to the top? Also not a problem. Enjoying your stint in GT4? Re-sign for another season. Start where you want, stay where you wish. Outside of career mode, Project Cars' one-off race weekends allow you to determine things like how the weather will change throughout the race. I ran into an odd glitch here that seems to try and place 2 opponent cars in the same spot on the starting grid, which causes a bit of a fuss but doesn't ruin proceedings. You get a similar level of control when setting up online races, which have seemed robust and reliable on track during testing. Project Cars is an extremely handsome racing game, but it's the little touches I like most. The effect of rain or windscreens isn't as remarkable as it is in Drive Club, but the weather effects overall are great and the tracks look spectacular in the wet. Project Cars' vehicles also ooze detail, although I'm not quite as smitten with this vehicle roster as, say, the slightly more rounded selection curated for Grid Autosport. I still found plenty to like though, especially how distinct every car feels. For instance, the difference between a purpose-built race car and a regular road-going hatchback is expertly translated by the supremely capable handling model. The former feel light, agile and grippy. They're stable in corners, but when pushed to the brink they snap in an instant. Road cars feel almost whale-like in comparison. Even a performance hatch like the Focus RS feels heavy and understeers like a pig when you try to wrestle it through bends. The effect is amplified tenfold with a steering wheel, but survives translation on a gamepad too, although I found it worthwhile to fiddle with the controller filtering sensitivity and other settings to find a feel that suits best. The important thing is Project Cars makes me feel like a racing driver, just like FIFA puts players on the pitch in their favourite football team. Project Cars is great at simulating what it feels like to drive a racing car, but it's even better at simulating the pressure and emotion of being a racing driver, and that I appreciate. Deep and demanding, but incredibly user-friendly, Project Cars looks great, sounds fantastic, and feels even better. The action is ferocious and tactical, the weather effects are awesome, and it's brimming with content to explore. This is real racing done right. For plenty more on Project Cars, stick with IGN.